10:42.
If you're doing this on Facebook, I'm going to post it.
The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the K-Ghost Radio Network and its website are those of the host, guest, and participants, and they are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcast, management, or advertisers of the network. The show is found under LJA Broadcasting Network. UFO Talk Radio can, but does not necessarily promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and they are not intended to treat or diagnose and/or claim to cure any disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice. All music is purchased and owned by LJA Broadcasting.
I got the windows rolled down, got the radio up, and I'm heading out of Vegas tonight. And it's a 1:30 on a 4-day run, and the desert is a welcome sight. I can see you there in that dress you wear, and it's keeping my foot on the gas. I drink a gallon of Joe just to make it back home and hold you in my arms at last. There's a full moon shining, lighting up the highway like a beacon to you. If I can make it on time, that's a moonlit state line, roll a diesel right on through. Well, my lids are heavy, there's a blue and white Chevy, and it seems these are right on my heels. And I'm leaning in the bar store, I can't drive this slow, yeah, you know how it feels. But the road is made for the big and brave, and
You're listening to Glenn Leary on UFO Talk Radio from the LGA Broadcasting Networks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. This is Glenn Leary. I do bid you all welcome across of all the time zones and wherever you may be. This is K-Ghost Radio, UFO Talk Radio, and as you know, we're being heard from everywhere. The LGA Broadcasting Network thanks you, LGA, that is me, Glenn Anderson, Larry. To all my affiliates out there in small radio stations, broadcasters, late night drivers, we do love you. To K6RCL, the ham operators out there, and to the Silent Key, W60 Baker, you know where that is, of course, and KPFF and Prompt, we do like you guys. Fantastic, doing a great job. KBHR 57 AM, Sitka, Alaska. We thank you very much. And for everybody out there listening, we bid you welcome to the show. Oh, we're going to have a great show tonight. We have Earl Grey Anderson. This guy is phenomenal. I'm telling you about UFOs, MUFON, and the latest and what's going on. And we've all read about it. We've all heard about it. Have you seen a UFO? Have you seen something like that in the skies? I have. And many of my friends have also, and colleagues, by the way. But to have this gentleman on the air again, we had him on years ago, a couple of years back, and had a great show. And we invited him back on again. And we do thank him for being on. Earl, are you with us, everybody?
Yeah, hi there, Glenn. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you kindly for being on tonight. I know you have a busy schedule. You have a busy, you're a busy guy. And what have you been up to?
It's good busy. I've been, it's always good busy. Well, you know, I'm the state director for MUFON here in Southern California. And in California, we're a UFO hotspot. We have more cases reported here in this state than anywhere else in the world. Some months we'll get 80 UFO reports in from people. You know, that's the thing about MUFON. If you go to MUFON.com, you'll see it has a little, link you can click. It says report a UFO or report an entity.
Yeah, yes.
And so if people are out there and if they see something they don't understand in the sky, or if they see something that's just very obviously a UFO, which sometimes is the case. I mean, sometimes it'll be right on somebody.
Right.
That's where you want to go to report it. People will sometimes say, well, I tried to report it to the police. I tried to report it to NSA. I tried to report it to, Vandenberg Space Force Base, et cetera, and sometimes they'll just like shuffle your report under the rug, or maybe they're listening and maybe they have a secret archive somewhere of reports. I'm guessing, but at MUFON, this is what we do. We've been doing it since Project Blue Book closed doors in 1969. There was a good bumper sticker out for a little while. I don't think that we still have it printed up, but it said, doing the Air Force's job since 1969. That's MUFON. So if you see a UFO, you want to report it to us. I have a team of field investigators that work under me. A couple of them are scientists. I've got a couple of, ex-police detectives and things like of that caliber.
Right. And
we'll look at your UFO report. We all have open minds, as well as being scientifically, have a scientific background. And but that's where you want to go and report. Even Congress is coming to us for our UFO reports. They want to know what this phenomenon is.
I bet they do.
Anyway, that's what I do. I'm state director here in California. I've got a team under me. And I love what I'm doing. I love it.
Let me ask you this: since you're doing lectures right now, and you have a class that you put on every day, all right, I guess, and I'm also hearing that you've got some conferences to do real soon too.
Yeah, I've got a couple of conferences I'm speaking at. I'm going to be speaking at the McMenamins Conference in Oregon. I'll be speaking at the MUFON Symposium again in Cincinnati, Ohio this year. And I've also got, there's just been a lot going on. And my class, I teach a UFO class at Otis College for Art and Design. It's actually a accredited college course.
Right.
You can't get a doctorate in ufology, but you can get a grade in UFOs and other worlds in my class over at Otis. And we just started our new semester last week. And today I went in and I was giving my students a nice array of local UFO reports. And this is a college of art and design.
Yeah.
So my students will hear stories about UFOs or anomalous encounters, and they'll actually illustrate, in their own. I have some people do oil painting. Some people will work with digital, like the artistic iPad stuff that you can do now. Some people will make even like diorama style shadow boxes and things like that.
That's pretty cool.
But it is accredited college course. It's one of Los Angeles's. It is Los Angeles' preeminent college of art and design. That's where you want to go if that's what your gift is.
Huh.
And so that's where I teach.
Now, I also understand that you're a man of music. And
yeah, I'm a musician. I have a background in the arts as well. That's
right.
why it kind of fits like a glove for me.
Boy.
For anybody that's used to expressing in lyricism or in lyrics or just in any artistic way, I think the field of ufology is wide open because it has so much mystery and it's so important, and it's so odd. I mean, it seems like the better cases seem to have like a little bit of absurdity that's intentionally injected into them.
Right.
I think purposeful absurdity. You look at the Eagle River case back from the early 1960s, where this guy saw a UFO. It came down. There were a couple of humanoid aliens sitting inside of this UFO, and they asked him to bring back pure water. He went out, he brought them water, and what did they do? They cooked him pancakes on like a cosmic hibachi barbecue.
Interesting.
This is a true story. I mean, this is one that J. Allen Hynek,
Yeah.
who was head of Project Blue Book, favored. He thought it was a good witness, a good report. The guy kept 2 of the pancakes, by the way.
Oh,
I guess they did scientific analysis on.
okay.
But I mean, this absurdity that's in this phenomena, I love it, and it's rife for artistic expression. That's what I'm finding for artists and people that like to express that way.
Right.
The UFO field is just wide open, and we need people that can do that.
Well, they don't. I don't think they think that the folks that have seen UFOs are nuts anymore. I mean, you know, come on.
No,
it's cat's out of the bag.
Seen them. Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter both saw UFO.
Yeah.
I mean, we can. I could sit down and name you a litany of important people that have seen UFOs.
Right.
You know, it's always been like that.
I've seen several. Raise my hand, so you know.
Me too. I can raise mine as well. I've had a couple of close encounters.
Right.
I've even seen beings at one point.
Really? So, what was that?
My wife and I had a weird experience about 7 years ago. It was when I first joined MUFON. When I think I had I was working cases. I was looking back the other day trying to figure out how many cases I'd done at that point. And I think I had investigated maybe 10 or 20 UFO reports.
God.
But I was trying the CE5 meditation thing. And I was kind of ardent and pushy about it. I mean, I did it for a week or two, and I kind of demanded. I would get into a meditative state.
Yeah.
And I just put it out to the universe. I want to meet you, ET. And you can abduct me if you want. I can't believe I said that, but I did. You know, I put that out there.
You're asking for a lot.
I said you can have my DNA. I don't care. I just want to see. I want to see you. I want to see ETs, and I want to see a UFO.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see a UFO. They came to me. Our room became flooded with anomalous light.
Wow.
My wife was next to me, but she was like dead to the world. We were lying there getting ready to go to sleep. But I actually had entities come through the wall. They opened what I would call a portal. So science doesn't recognize that as a real thing yet. They do talk about wormholes and stuff like that.
I'll tell you.
I think that's technically what it was. And the entities came right in. I couldn't move. I couldn't move, a muscle. I could move my eyes, but I was suddenly rendered a quadriplegic. And they took DNA. They took blood.
Did they do it?
I guess it could have been worse.
Did they do it right, Earl? Did they do it right there in the bedroom, or were they doing it?
Yeah, I couldn't move.
Okay.
They attached these tubes to me, and this sounds completely crazy.
No.
No,
I've heard.
Anybody out there listening to me, if you knew me, I'm like the scientific person. I grew up watching Carl Sagan on TV. I took classes in astronomy, and I'm a licensed nurse. I worked in the medical field for 38 years. Recently retired from that. I'm a full-time ufologist now. But I'm a scientifically minded person, and this did not make any sense. It didn't make any scientific sense, but it happened. And a couple nights later, it happened to my wife as well. I mean, she was, shaking me awake, and our room was flooded with light yet again.
Wow.
And this time she, you'd have to know my wife. It's kind of funny. She was really angry. She felt like, well, maybe I had invited these guys. I guess technically I did. She was right.
Right.
I guess that she pointed her blame at the right person. But she said, Earl, you need to tell your little friends that they need to leave us the F alone. She didn't say F, but, I don't need to go into that.
Right.
She was angry.
Yeah.
And
well,
she said, I didn't sign up for this, and I have insomnia, how it is.
Earl, when they came into your room, the bright light and all that, I've heard of people seeing an opening come out of their wall, and they walk right through, and they got to come from somewhere. I mean, maybe you didn't. The light was so bright you didn't see them approach you, come where they came from. But
I could see.
Okay.
No, I could see. kidding.
All right.
They opened up like a 7.5 foot hole in my wall.
There you go.
Bedroom.
Yeah.
And it
Amazing.
opened up like if you poured coffee into a cup or poured cream into a cup of coffee.
Wow.
You know how it kind of spirals around,
Yeah.
and the whole cup comes to life, and that's kind of how it works. It started from the center, it went out to the periphery of the opening, and then it just opened up, and I could see distance. I could see bright light. I couldn't see whether it was inside of a ship or another planet or what. So I think it was a dimensional thing that they did.
Did they talk to
you? There wouldn't have been room to park a spaceship outside of our house.
Yeah. Did they talk to you at all?
They did not. That was what concerned me and what scared me when it happened. They were very businesslike. It was the little 4 foot tall gray guys with the black eyes. And they seemed to work like a surgical team, and they did their business.
Right.
And I kept on trying to communicate with them, and I received nothing. No communication.
Would you be considered an experiencer at this point?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing you do, right?
Well, after this happened, I spoke to my state director at the time, and he was kind of a nuts and bolts UFO guy. And this wasn't what he wanted to hear. He didn't want to hear that his new field investigator had been visited by aliens.
Right.
I eventually talked to my friend Peter Robbins, who I had just recently met back then, and he worked with Bud Hopkins. He was one of the initial guy that worked on abduction cases. Peter was helpful. I then spoke with my friend and my mentor, Kathleen Marden, who's Betty and Barney Hill's niece.
Right.
And Kathleen is who kind of took me under wing. And we talked for about an hour. She felt like I had met some renegade grays that were working on their own, that did not have benevolent motives. But after speaking with her, I knew about MUFON's experiencer resource team, and she asked me if I wanted to be a member, and I told her that I would love to be a member of the ERT.
Right. Wow.
So that's a lot of the cases that I work on now, and I feel like I can do this properly because I have the right level of empathy to do it, because I know it's real. If it happens to you, you know that it's not hogwash. You know that it's actually as crazy as it sounds.
Right.
It's a phenomena that's happening, that people are being contacted, that they're being, they're having their DNA taken
Encounters.
sometimes.
Right.
People get downloads nowadays. That seems to be one of the new things, is people get downloads of arcane knowledge or mathematical knowledge that they didn't know before.
Wow. I need help with that.
Me too.
I'm lining up for this,
too.
man. They can do what they got to do.
Terrible in algebra. I had to do it in nursing work.
I want my memory back.
Calculate,
you hear me? I want my memory back the best I can. And then they can do what they want to do, and then drop me off with some gold and silver after they're done with me. I'll be happy. Whatever. But no, I have not seen the little guys yet. Although I've seen 3 or 4 different crafts, and I actually last summer sent out in my driveway and looked at the stars. There's no air pollution at that time, and there were 2 bright planets. And I go, wow, and I saw something shoot around there. I go, if you are listening to me, or you could hear my vibrations, and I really got into kind of a state, I guess you'd call it. And I said, prove to me they're out there. Go to the one planet and come back to the other. And within 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds, it happened. Unbelievable. Wow. It happened. Now that was about as far as I was gonna push that at that point. And I'll tell you, I said to myself, this is it's working. Stephen Gear's deal. I mean, Dr. Greer's, it's working. And maybe I should start taking classes. But
you can do it on your own.
Yeah, you can.
You don't need to pay anybody to do that.
Right. Right.
You just get into a very quiet mood.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to do meditation back, 30 years ago. So I kind of went back to my old technique. I had a mantra and focal points. I kind of did it that way.
Right.
But anybody can do it. It does work. But be careful. I mean, what I would say, if I have any heads up or a caveat for anybody, don't say go ahead and abduct me or take my DNA.
Yeah, don't give them permission.
And I think I would direct it to benevolent entities.
There you go.
Now, for myself, even though the experience was very, very scary, afterwards I noticed a change in myself. I seemed to be more, my empathy was kicked up through the rafters, and I could feel other people's emotions. I was better with intuition, where I felt like I could connect the dots to my UFO cases really, really well.
Right.
I started experiencing synchronicities in my life. Synchronicity is a meaningful coincidence. And they would happen, like just one after another, to the point where it was like, this isn't coincidence. This is really bizarre. And so I think that there's like a cosmic contagion that's passed along when you have contact. I don't think that it matters whether it's benevolent or malevolent. That after you've had contact, it passes this contagion on to the experiencer. And experiencers tend to, they show the same gifts, I guess is the word, gifts or abilities that are sometimes usually attributed to our visitors themselves.
Wow.
You know, I mean, we know that they're telepathic. We hear about this all the time. We know that they can be causative in their thoughts.
Correct.
Things like that. But I see that in experiencers as well. So it seems to change something about human beings.
We're going to go.
Maybe that's the motive.
Yeah, maybe so.
That's the motive.
We're going to go to a break real fast, and we'll be back. Okay, my friend?
Sure.
Stand by.
Violence, theft, drugs, graffiti. It's all part of joining a gang. In times like these, we need to protect our children and our community from gangs. Gangs often prey on unsupervised teens with low self-esteem, who perform poorly in school, who seek a sense of belonging, or are simply bored. Joining a gang often involves violent hazing rituals. Once in a gang, members can become alienated from their families, school, and friends. Drugs, guns, and malicious activity are common elements in gangs. Trying to leave a gang can be a difficult and dangerous process. The best way to get out of a gang is never to join one. Protect kids from being recruited by a gang. Know who they're hanging out with. Involve kids in after-school activities and provide positive role models. Help reduce gang activities in your community by working with local law enforcement and school systems. Don't let a kid you know get involved with gangs. Visit ncpc.org to learn more or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Mom, you wanted to talk to me?
The calendar hypnosis
Violence,
into thumbtack
theft,
cushion.
drugs.
Completely tailwind. And sewing elephants plant before cartoon paper cups. So numbers renovate.
If your teenager is trying drugs or alcohol, would you know the right words to use?
Afterward, lightly fish scale. Doorbell.
Find out what to say at drugfree.org.
Now, back with Glenn Larry on UFO Talk Radio, deep in the desert of Nevada.
Yeah, and I am back with Mr. Earl Gray Anderson. And I'm telling you, we're going to learn a lot about a lot of things tonight, tell you for sure. We're going to open the lines about 7:30. I want to thank you folks out there right now that are listening. Oh my gosh, we're getting a lot of comments and people listening from all over Canada, big in Canada tonight. Wonderful. Spokane and in Montana, we've got Wyoming over there. We've got a couple other places popping up, but Canada's really come in tonight, and we're heard on Apple Podcast and Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Archer, Twitter, Spotify, Speakler, goes on, StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube, of course, all the channels that want to have Glenn Larry Show, UFO Talk Radio, Area 51 Talk Radio, RPL Tribute, of course, and Olympia Radio, K-Ghost. You know K-Ghost right behind us, folks. This is our new studio that we're broadcasting from. And Earl, I'll tell you, gosh, here we are. And things are happening all over around us. Reports are coming in from all over. I mean, they can't stop it now, can they?
No. It's a new day in ufology
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
I mean, Congress is saying that this is real, finally. They're actually, congressional members are meeting with the head of, the head guys, MUFON board members. They want to know what we're finding out. Because we've been doing this since 1969. Now, I'm sure that the government has had their agencies looking into this phenomena as well. It's like, duh.
Yeah. Yeah, you think?
Of course. We know this. But it's kind of a different atmosphere right now where it's open to talk about, and they're openly, they're within the first 45 minutes when, last year when Congress went and they did the thing on TV about UFOs and that they were, looking into this seriously, they brought up MUFON within the first 45 seconds of that talk.
Right.
That's Washington, D.C. That's our congressional members. So things are changing, where it used to be I would talk with the scientists where they would kind of roll their eyes about the subject. Now people seem to stop and they listen and they're much more open to it.
Yes.
So it's a good time to be, investigating this phenomenon.
I think once you see one UFO, you have an experience. You're going to see more. You've got to have that vibration or have something in you that you're able to see these different crafts. And
I think so too. I don't think that people have random sightings. I think that if you have a full-on UFO sighting,
right,
not a little light in the sky, but if you have a close encounter, that was meant, and that you were, targeted might be the wrong word. It maybe has negativity about it.
Right.
But I think certain people, because of their bloodlines or sometimes military background in their families, that they are targeted for this phenomenon, and it keeps them out. And I've got people putting in UFO reports who are aerospace engineers, military members, police officers, astrophysicists, clinical psychologists, medical doctors, and guys that work, like street sweeper guys,
right.
And plumbers and housewives and house husbands. It's like truckers, right? If you're out on the road all night and all day, you're out there, you're looking at, you're bound to see something eventually. So everybody kind of brings their gifts to the table.
And
I see it.
And at all ages, by the way, too. That's
all ages.
Yeah.
I love getting reports from kids.
Yeah.
Or adults talking about their childhood encounters. Some of my most favorite cases are those. Our visitors seem to deal with children. They seem to have a little more humor about it, or they'll even appear as their favorite cartoon characters sometimes. They'll use a screen memory or a screen presence.
Right.
Presence at the time.
Right.
I don't think that what you see is necessarily what's there.
So if
you might have a heart attack if you actually saw that.
If you're seeing
might look like a squid,
right? Right. You're seeing Spider-Man or Superman, or you're seeing an owl actually, or something.
I
Bird.
wonder when people see the tall whites, or some of these races of aliens. If we actually saw them, they might look like Cthulhu from H.P. Lovecraft novels.
Right.
My feeling is that they are really, really trying to make us comfortable.
Yes.
As uncomfortable as this phenomenon can seem,
right.
I feel like they're tempering it for us. So they're trying to present it to us in a way where it doesn't de-establish the human race or, where we've gotten to in society. I think they're being really careful about disclosure. I think that our visitors themselves are being careful about disclosure.
Right.
if it happened in the wrong way, where it was used like, oh my God, aliens, run for the shelter, that's not what they want to convey to people.
Now, I've heard that there are different type of aliens, and that we made a peace agreement with them, an agreement where maybe they could take some of us and get something out of us. I don't know. This is the Eisenhower theory, as you remember.
I've heard that too. I'm not sure. I've spoken with Laura Eisenhower before. She thinks that there's credence to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the documents have not been released via FOIA request or otherwise, so we don't know yet.
Right.
But it would explain certain things.
It would. It really would. I wouldn't put it past them to make an agreement.
I wouldn't either.
What are the friendly ones? Are the grays the friendly, or the blues? Or I mean, God, I can't. I got a whole list of them now.
About the blue avian guys, I haven't had many reports about them. From what I've been told, they kind of keep to themselves and don't like to be seen.
And the Nordics?
The Nordics, I've heard various reports. I mean, some people say that they're off-putting and scary, and that they got negative telepathic messages from them, like "Don't come over here, don't talk to me," as though they wanted to remain secretive and didn't want any communication with people. Others talk about these, Valiant Thor, for example, or the friendship case from Italy, the late 1950s case, where it's humanoids that are interacting with us that are friendly. But personally, I think that if you look at humanity, if you're to describe humanity, are humans good? Are they bad? Are they something else? We would probably have to go into the middle and say something else.
Right.
The same breed brought about people like Gandhi and JFK and Ronald Reagan, for instance,
or Elvis
and Hitler, and Saddam Hussein.
I get it.
You've got like this wide expanse of humans with different motives, and I think it's the same out in the greater cosmos. I think that you've got different factions within different species with different motives. And some have very good motives. Some don't have very good motives.
Earl, I'm going to go to the lines. First, I'm going to say a couple of things. A big shout out to Creekside Diner over there on Kennett Square in Pennsylvania. On that fantastic food, good people. She really supports the MS folks out there. Karen is her name. She's the owner, great lady. And to my buddies down there in Avondale, Station 23, goes out the Chief Hall out there, his crew, and he's fire police out there right now, I guess. And I'm telling you, I do appreciate those guys. I went out there, had a great time, met some real good people, and I'm coming back to see you. Promise. Station 78 and 87, 77 Clark County. To all the doctors, nurses, emergency techs, I'll tell you, we thank you all. We love you. And what you do for us, I'll tell you we just don't do enough for you. Sincerely, Let's go to the open lines here. Let's see what we got.
To talk with Glenn Larry, deep in the desert of Nevada, lines are open at 1-702-874-1114. That's 702-874-1114. Now, here again, Glenn Larry.
And I'll get, what's that prompt line number?
The prompt lines are open at 775-990-8275. That's 775-990-8275. Now, back with Glenn Larry on UFO Talk Radio, deep in the desert of Nevada.
And we are deep in the desert, all right. I'll tell you, it's getting cold out here at nighttime. And how's your weather in California, Earl?
It finally dried up. We got some much-needed rain for a few days.
You did.
Really nice, actually.
You asked for it, and you got it. I'll tell you.
Let's talk about deep. That announcer you have there, that was one deep voice.
Wow. Yeah, he is quite the man, Ross. He's fantastic. He used to work for Art Bell and for Coast to Coast, and
very cool. Okay, that's why I recognize that voice.
Yeah,
there you go.
Ross is his name. Great man. So here we are on a Tuesday night, and we're going to have some calls coming in. I'm getting a lot of emails here and a lot of chit chat, as I may say. which is always fun to get.
Cool.
Yes, I say hello to Randy out there. Love you, buddy. And a lot of people know that I became a lifetime elk, by the way. I've been with them for
congratulations.
31 years. Also an Eagle member, but elk has really been my well, it's taken my heart for years, of course, 31 years of it. But I get it out. It's a fun place to go. If you get a chance to become an elk, do so, or an eagle, or even other lodges, mooses, or what have you. Gosh, I know a lot of people remember the VFW, and the Legion is another one. But all these lodges are good. They help a lot of people, and they help themselves. Those that can't help themselves, let's say you're a veteran or what have you, a lot of good things can come out of these things by joining these groups. Trust me. Gosh, are you a member of any group yourself?
MUFON.
Yes, I guarantee it's probably enough
The
for you.
Royal Order of the Water Buffaloes, maybe.
Oh, I love it. Jackie Gleason. Yeah, they had the that's great. Love it. Good sense of humor, Earl. I love it.
Thank you. I think that was Fred Flintstone. Actually.
Oh, that was Fred Flintstone. Yeah. I think it was a Raccoon
Fred
Lodge.
Barney.
Yeah. Raccoon Lodge was the
yeah, they were the raccoons. I love it.
Folks, if you have a question for Earl, here's your chance about MUFON or UFOs or anything you can think of on that level. This man's.
I would love to mention while on air. Now, if you guys like to watch the show Ancient Aliens, be sure to watch on February 10th. It's in a couple of weeks, because I'm going to be on there talking about the same stuff, kind of what I'm talking about here, but it's Ancient Aliens. So History Channel, do watch, please.
It shall be fun. Tell you. One time, I'll give this number out again.
To call UFO Talk Radio, the Glenn Larry Show, deep in the dark desert of Nevada, call 702-874-1114. North of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. West of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. And south of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. And east of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. First time callers, call 702-874-1114. And if you just want to talk to the Glenn Larry Show, call 702-874-1114.
That's a little tongue-in-cheek for you out there. That's just one number. We actually have three. We have three lines. We got this one.
Our rump lines are open at 775-990-8275. That's 775-990-8275.
There you go. Now you got them all. I think they can remember that, to tell you the truth. Just many times we'll get slam lines, and there'll be times we get 2 or 3 callers. And whatever happens, happens. It is a Tuesday night. And what the opportunities people have, Earl, tell you, listening to us on all these different podcasts and Facebook, YouTube, they can always come back and listen to the show later. And that's the coolness of all that. It's not like old television where you're broadcasting, you're on at that certain time. You better not miss that show. You remember those days, huh?
Yep.
Our radio show is the same. But so it's kind of cool. It works out for us. Numbers have been very high. And I do thank the folks that are listening out there. Earl, when you're out by yourself at night, do you still, you look at the, I'm sure you do, you look up the sky all the time. And I mean,
always.
Yeah.
I'm always.
Do you say to yourself, how much more is coming? I mean,
I think a lot.
Do you think that they're going to park the big ship somewhere and we're all going to walk up a ladder and go? Or, I mean, you think it might be
I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that we're going to get some soft disclosure at very least over the next few years. I mean, it seems like officialdom has been leading up to that. It seems to be, the message that we're getting now. Of course, officialdom has a history of holding the football and then pulling it away, right? You see Charlie Brown stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But this time it seems like the football has been held out for a long, long time, and they're still talking. So I think that we're going to get some disclosure. If I could disclose anything, it would be the Roswell crash. Simply because I know the family. I'm close friends with Denise Marcel. I know Jesse and
Right.
and their older brother, and that family. When you think about Jesse Marcel Sr.,
Right.
he was the first official on the debris field of the Roswell crash. And he went, and of course he took the memory metal, is what they called it.
Mm-hmm.
This metal that you could crush up, and it would go right back to its original shape. You could
Form.
shoot bullets at it, you could repel bullets.
Huh.
And this was the material that they found over at the Mac Brazel Ranch back in 1947, July 2nd, they say, is when the crash happened.
Right.
People reported it was a horrible thunderstorm, and there were UFO reports from that night. People saw something crash. Apparently, it first hit Corona, New Mexico. The habitation module of this craft apparently was left behind because they found bodies apparently there, and there was one. They say that there was one entity that was still alive. But then the rest of this craft actually bounced like a super ball, went back up practically into orbit, and smashed down in Roswell, Mexico.
Wow.
72 miles away from the original crash site. So it's kind of confusing. There's two crash sites.
Right.
For that.
I was just going to ask you that. Why is that?
Yeah.
And all that
a
debris.
Part of this craft bounced.
Right.
It's probably the material. They say that the material that they found there seemed to be trying to gather itself back together into its original shape.
Now that's interesting.
Like it was moving in the wind, but there was no wind. And what I've heard is that a lot of these, well, maybe all of these craft are intelligent themselves. They're AI.
Right.
And that they, that the entities can actually communicate with the craft itself. They don't even think of it as a craft. They think of it as another intelligence.
Like part of them maybe too?
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's what came down in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947.
Right.
And if I could have them disclose anything officially, it would be that.
Just that. What about the alien bodies that were supposedly?
Well, there were alien bodies with the Roswell crash. I think if they would just come clean on that one thing, it would open the door for everything else.
Right. How do you think that the average person will take that? Let's say the church-going person that,
Some will say it was from the devil.
Yeah.
It was demons trying to, deceive us, right? Some will say that it's God's other, that in the Bible it says that in my Father's house there are many mansions, and we'll see them as God's other children. Why would he just stop with us? It's God. If you're creative, you're going to keep creating, right?
Right.
I'm
bored with Earth now. Let's make something else.
Yeah.
I get it.
I think the Catholic Church, they're taking this very seriously. They think that this closure is going to be happening, and they're kind of going along with it. I think that other religious groups are going to have to do the same if they want to survive.
Right.
And remain relevant. I think that some people are going to go and they're going to take their money out of the banks. They're going to go and hide out with, survivalist gear, and that's how some will react. And others will probably be partying on the roof of, it's like Independence Day where they're having a party.
Yeah.
And
right.
hopefully, they're not destroyed by the aliens. I don't think that'll happen.
Right, right.
I think that the people will, it will certainly change humanity when this is truly, truly disclosed in a, unequivocal way where, all the leaders on all sides are saying, this is real, this is true, this is what's happening. I don't think the President of the United States alone would be able to do disclosure. We have a highly divided country as far as political thought goes.
Yeah.
It would have to be people from both sides of the coin. It would have to be other world leaders would have to get involved. And it's kind of exciting to think that we might actually see this.
Well, I hope so.
And not far away.
Worried about what's going on about everybody's talking about war, and that's kind of scary to me. I mean,
That
God.
is very scary. Aliens don't scare me. A nuclear war with China does.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. We want to avoid that at all costs.
Right.
And I think our visitors are trying to stress to us that we need to avoid. I had one person in officialdom who I talked with who said, if we can't live like brothers, we're going to die like thieves. That is apparently, something that was said by a visitor.
Right.
Is what I was told.
Yeah.
And it's kind of known out there. It's an attitude, and that's kind of what we have to do. We have to learn how to live like brothers and sisters again. Because it's going to totally change our world. Our world is going to be turned upside down.
Oh, you think?
Disclosure happens.
Yeah, I'm open to that, and that happens as soon as it can. Because that might wake up a lot of other people. Earl, we'll be back right after this. I want to thank the Pioneer Saloon, yes, in Good Springs, Nevada. I'll tell you, karaoke Wednesday nights, Friday and Saturday, they got live music all day. It's a Sunday also, live music. Old Man Liver Whiskey, unbelievable stuff. Yeah, I tried some the other day. I loved it. Well, what can I say? It's whiskey. I see spirits. It's a go-see place. There's ghosts in there, but there's also spirits in the glass. I really believe that, yes. Drink specials, great food, I'll tell you for sure, and great people that work down there. And I love the new owners. They're fantastic, by the way. Right down in the little town of Good Springs. That's where the entertainment happens. Downtown Good Springs in Nevada. Tell you for sure. Great place, by the way. Have you heard that place, Earl? The Pioneer Saloon?
I have not. I know there's like a pioneer town up in Joshua Tree.
Yeah, yeah, that's way up there.
A different place.
Yeah, it is. The nice place, 1913. That's how old it is, and it is haunted. They have ghost tours there. It's got a museum on the side, and it's just the coolest place. And of course, it's my little watering hole. Everybody knows that. I'm not going to hide that from anybody. No way. And a lot of musicians come down. In fact, if you heard that opening, what I had for the show, which is Chris Ears, by the way, I'll just show this up here to folks. Chris Ears, he does a great job. Yeah, quite an entertainer and musician, songwriter out of Nashville, too. Lives here in Las Vegas, does a great job. You can go to chrisears.com or .org, I believe, and get these CDs there also. Understand you have some CDs under your belt.
Yes, I do.
And where can they get those?
It's under Piper Gray, PIPER /Gray, GREY. And you can hear them on YouTube, where you can buy them from cdbaby.com. Also, you can hear my solo album, Lover's Ridge by Earl Grey, which is on Spotify and YouTube. Everything's on Spotify and the streaming services as well. So you would look for Piper Gray or Earl Grey Anderson.
There you go.
You'll find some of my stuff there.
Make sure we told everybody about that, too, sure. Well, here we are.
Managed to juggle musicianship and scholastic stuff and keeping my UFO team running,
It costs money.
I'm currently helping book the 2023 MUFON Symposium in Ohio.
Wow.
So much stuff going on. I've never been busier, and I'm actually supposedly I'm retired, but no, I'm not.
Yeah. You pay for you pay for your own trips, your food, hotel, and all that stuff, where you go, and I get all that. Yeah, I do the radio thing, and it all comes out of my pocket, of course. And on our website, there's a place to donate, folks. It all helps, I'll tell you for sure. But in this world of UFO, there's not much money in it, is there?
No, there's not. I mean, when I first got into this, a couple people took it upon themselves, because of course you never know what somebody's motives are.
Right.
And for me, it's just I just want to uncover this mystery that's been with me all my life.
Same here.
But a couple people said, well, there's no money in this, and it's like, oh, okay, well, nice to know up front. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, gosh.
I mean, if you're speaking at a conference, you might get $300 speaker fees, you know. And if it's out of state, if they're, you know, if they're nice, they'll pay for your airfare and your hotel.
Right.
And, but that's kind of, you know, that's kind of it. Most TV shows, you usually don't get anything for them. Some do pay you a little, you know, honorarium, so that's nice. But no, if you want to get rich, ufology is not. That's not for you. You know.
No, I get it. Now you put together a book, right? I'm sure you've got several.
Not
papers.
yet. I'm working on one right now.
Okay.
I currently write a regular column for Outer Limits magazine. It's a UK periodical, but anybody can subscribe to it.
Great.
And it's called the Gray Files, and I'm just more or less I'm putting up the files of cases that I've closed, and I'll write like a little prelude to it, and then I'll actually publish the case report itself. I try to write my case report eloquently so that, you know, it's a pleasure to read them.
Right.
So everything's there, you know. You've got those, you know, no loose ends there.
Yeah.
And I'll write like a little afterward. And I've been doing that. I'm gathering those together, and I'll eventually we'll put out the Gray Files by Earl Grey Anderson. It should be within a year or so.
There are many UFO groups that meet. I know that for sure, and I know if you those folks out there just heard that, do pick that book up when it comes out. I have a gal that calls in. Her name's Barbara. She's kind of a special. She calls in. She's contributes a bit to the station, and she's a great lady. And I hope that she would call in. I guess that maybe she didn't get the message. I did leave a message for her. So, but she likes to talk about UFOs too and things like that. So we don't know. Well, she may call in. We'll see. Kind of fun lady. But,
good.
Yeah.
Well, people can listen to this later on, and you can always get a hold of, you know, I'm on Facebook as Earl Grey. You can always get a hold of me that way. Or, you know, if you hear something I'm talking about that's, you know, familiar to you, if you feel like you've had alien contact or you've seen a UFO,
yes,
don't hesitate. Go to MUFON.com and report it. Somebody will investigate your case.
Is it too late to, let's say, okay, I saw UFO in 1967 or 1970. This is what happened. Are those stories still important?
Yeah, I love historical cases.
Okay.
Because you know what? What I love about historical cases is the time capsule ufology. You get to see how we were being, how we were being dealt with back in the 60s or the 50s.
Right.
I mean, I have a case that was from 1955 where these two boys saw this silver missile-shaped object that was hovering 5 foot off the ground. And these guys were playing toboggan down an embankment using a cardboard box, right? We've all done that. You know, I know I did that.
Me too. Me too.
And you go down the hill on the cardboard box, it's like a sled, and then you run back up. Well, they saw this missile-shaped thing down there. It was just no propulsion to it. You know, it didn't have flames coming out of it. There's no reason why it should be hovering 5 feet over the ground, but there it was.
There it was.
And the boys wave at it. They climb back up the embankment. They go down it again in their cardboard box. And they're just waving at the UFO going, oh, I think there's spacemen in there. You know?
Wow.
That's 1955.
That's cool stuff.
He reported it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Well, 2 months after he reported his 1955 sighting, I had two guys that own a motorcycle shop in the San Diego area that had the same experience. But these guys were more my age. They were a little younger than me. They were, I think, mid-50s.
Okay.
But they were riding their motorcycles up in the hills of San Diego, and they saw this silver missile-shaped object hovering 5 feet over the ground.
Right.
They got off their bikes. They're looking at it. It did the same thing that the object did for the boys in 1955. It went up to a 90-degree position and then shot off into the vanishing point, you know, until it disappeared.
Right.
That's like 70 years worth of time between the sightings, and yet how about that? You know, it was pretty much the same kind of craft, the same sort of two guys, you know. So the old reports are really important. Sometimes they're the same as contemporary reports.
Right.
I don't know that our visitors, the time is the same for them.
Yeah, somebody said that they don't understand time. Apparently, it's just one whole thing. I mean, they're gonna pop and see at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever, even during the daytime.
I think they have control over that. I think they can go wherever they want.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think that also. I think that they have control of anything, and in fact, I think they could freeze this whole nuclear thing and just dismiss it, where nothing will ever work.
Yes, but they want us to evolve. They want us to become better than we are, and they're waiting for us to become like brothers instead of thieves. You know, and that's what they're waiting for. And they may have a long wait. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I hope that perhaps once humanity realizes that we're not alone, we're being observed, and that there's a possibility of having a Star Trek-like future ahead of ourselves.
Would that not be cool?
Just get over ourselves.
Yes.
We just get over our bad actions and our, selfishness and bigotry. It's like, hey, look, you're prejudiced against some human because of their skin color. You're not going to like an alien that's got green skin or
right.
You think might look like a squid or a praying mantis.
Yeah.
So I think humans, I think that we're being propelled forward and that they want to see us better ourselves.
How many?
Then maybe we'll be ready for it.
How many do you think are walking the earth right now? Are below the earth? I mean, truthfully, what do you think about that?
I think they're here. I have no doubt. I believe that they were taking DNA for a reason. That there was a hybridization program that was going on for a long, long time.
I met a guy.
I don't know that it's still going on now. We don't hear many, extractions of eggs and sperm from people
right,
like we used to. It's more downloads of knowledge these days. So I think that the DNA farming thing has been sort of wrapped up mostly.
Right.
Once in a while, you'll still get a case like that, but they've gone to something else. And I think that they created bodies to live here.
Do you think they could time travel?
Yeah.
Do you think that some of these ships that we see out there might be a time machine watching us?
Could be. Yeah.
Like, look at them now. This is like a zoo. Like it's a zoo. Look at them out there.
The Great Kazoo. We're back to the Flintstones.
Huh?
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting.
We're back to the Flintstones.
Yeah.
We're talking the Great Kazoo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, are they astronauts from other planets, or are they more like space gods? I mean, the more I learn, the more they seem like space gods.
Interesting.
Like small g for the gods, but maybe Greek mythology and some of the stories of from Babylon and Syria and all that stuff. Maybe there's an element of truth to those.
Right. Right.
I think they've been here forever.
Yep. What's time? Right? They can come and go anytime they want. And there are what do you call time that's not time? Yeah, Gabby?
I don't know. Being there,
I guess. Arriving and going, coming and going. How's that? Anything. There you go. Time again. Anytime that you want. But it is interesting, and the size of crafts and the shapes and they could be little people in a craft. So
they've seen stuff come out of the sun that they can't explain. These spherical. There is this one. It looked like a spherical ball of fire, and it was 4 times the size of the Earth. And they don't know what it was. The sun expelled it. And there's a contingency of people out there that think that these are craft, that it's alien craft. And you know what? I can't disprove that. I mean, I've seen some weird videos from the Solar Max satellites that they've had out there and such. It's very, very strange. But we may be thinking our ideas of ETs may be way too small. We're thinking of astronauts from other planets and they may be a whole other level
Yeah.
from that.
Of being
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. My gosh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
We got more to cover. We got more to say. Got more to talk about, Earl. And I do want to have you back on another day, of course. And
Sure.
you are a fascinating person to talk to. I've talked to many people on this subject of UFOs. And yeah, and it's always been I've been doing it since I was 16 or 14 years old, studying them, and I've seen several myself and with witnesses. And so I know I'm not nuts. I might be a little different, but I've seen UFOs. And folks, if you've seen one, report the UFO that you've seen.
Please.
And if you get a chance, is there an email address that somebody can email you with their story maybe too?
Sure. Earl Gray Anderson at Gmail. It's Gray, Grey, Anderson with a O-N. So it's Earl Gray Anderson, like one word, at Gmail. And I'll get that.
That's good, because I want these people to really turn on. I know I'm getting a lot of emails here, a lot of comments and other stuff on the different channels, and they're saying, what do I do now? Well, just do what you got to do. Report it. Talk about it. It's good therapy, too.
Report it. Go to MUFON.com and click on Report a UFO or click on Report an Entity. We'll take you seriously. It's what we do.
So just to make sure, any other contacts, information for the folks out there that you can give for yourself, please?
There's a documentary that you can watch that was just released that was done by award-winning filmmaker Jeremy Norrie. That if you have the Tubi streaming app, or if you have Amazon Prime, it's called MUFON and UFOs. The Proof is Out There. And it's a documentary that I just did with my field investigatory team here in Southern California. I'm real proud of the documentary. He's really respectful. He treated everything very scientifically, yet had an open mind.
The
Wonderful
rumblings are
documentarian.
Right. Well, my friend, I'm going to thank you kindly. We're going to wrap it up, folks. So I want to thank everyone.
It was a pleasure, Glenn.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, you're a very interesting person to talk to. And I'll be looking for any writings you have coming out. I'll be looking for that. And again, we'll have you back. And again, thank you kindly for taking the time of your night and day for this. We do appreciate you. From K-Ghost Radio, UFO Talk Radio. Again, thank you, my friend.
Have a wonderful night.
Will do. That was Earl Gray Anderson, everybody. Only here live on UFO Talk Radio, the Glenn Larry Show. I thank you for everybody. See you next Tuesday night. We will. And a surprise coming your way. Thank you kindly. I am Glenn Larry.